What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Doing a little tinkering in the shop today. We're tying up a few feathered treble hooks for the season. You know, feathered treble hooks are so cool. You know, they're just a little add-on to the back of your top water, your jerk bait, whatever you want to add them to, but they're really cool and they can trigger some fish to bite, especially on those top water baits. So I always like to tie up my own. Just it gives me a lot of options to tweak things exactly how I want them. You know, I can match a Keller to a bait. I can match the size of hook. I can use good hooks. So many different things, but I want to walk you guys through how I do it. You know, it's pretty simple. Show you how to tie your own feathered treble hooks here, just a couple minutes of your time. It's really quick and easy, can save you a bunch of money. So it's all coming up. All right, guys, like I said, we are tying some feather treble hooks today. It's really easy. I'm going to walk you through the whole step, but if you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're pumping out 3 videos a week here, so we're trying to get a bunch of content out, and I want to make sure you don't miss any of it. So, you know, the goal of the channel is to help you guys catch some more fish or learn something each and every video. So hopefully you learned something for this video. I appreciate you clicking and watching this video, but we're tying some feathered treble hooks for the back of whatever hard bait you want to add them to, whether it's a topwater, jerk bait, even a square bill sometimes, a glide bait. So many different options to add anything with treble hooks. You can tie up a feathered treble hook to make it look a little bit better, a little more natural, and just gives you that little advantage, help a few more fish bite your bait. So the reason I like to tie my own is it gives me so much freedom. You know, I got all the different colors of feathers. You know, we got purples, we got browns, blacks, a whole bunch of different colors, some grays. I mean, we got all different types of feathers that you can use as your base. You can mix and match colors. You can add a little red if you want like a blood look in there. You can add different types of flashaboo, which is this stuff here, you know, silver, blue, a deeper blue. I like to use this greenish purple for the bulk of mine. It's just a very natural bait fish looking color. So that's the first reason I like to tie my own, is I'm a tackle tinkerer. So I like to tweak things and make them my own and make them my way. And this allows me to do that and make it exactly how I want it. And the second, and probably the most important reason, is I get to choose the hooks I use. You guys know I love using Trocar hooks. These are the new Trocar treble hooks, the TK 934, and it allows me to do a bunch of different sizes. So I got number 6s, number 4s, number 2s, so I can tie up a bunch of different sizes and a bunch of different colors, styles, lengths, all different options in each size, and a good hook that I'm confident in, so I know whenever I throw this bait on the back of a bait, it's exactly how I want it to be. So one key thing one piece of advice I guess I'll give you is, on the back hook of all your treble hook baits, I like to use a round bend style hook. You see how that hook is just a round bend. You know, I don't like to use the EWG style hook on the back hook, or where a feathered treble hook would be on your treble hook baits, just simply because that back hook is going to be where a fish kind of short strikes or maybe just nips at that bait, and you want that hook point facing out a little bit, or, you know, not pointed in like an EWG style hook is. You want it at least straight up and down, if not pointing out, where if one swipes at it, he's going to catch that hook point and get hooked. So that's the most important thing, is you want round bend style treble hooks. At least I do. That's what I want to use on the back of my treble hook baits. All right, so really you just need a couple pieces of equipment to tie up your baits. You know, you need a vise. This is just a fly tying vise here. And that basically holds your hook in the vise there while you're tying it. So that way, you know, you don't need anything else to hold it. You need one of these guys right here. I'm not even sure what this is called. I Basically bought a fly tying starter kit. It came with all this stuff here. It was super cheap, and it's really easy to use. So the other thing you can tweak as far as color is your thread color. So this is going to be at the top, basically at the eye of the hook will be your thread. I keep it simple. I just go with black because I can use black for everything, for tying jigs, tying hair jigs, tying treble hooks. I mean, I don't think it makes that much of a difference in order for me to change out my thread just to make it look a little bit different. But I'm just going with black thread. It's super strong. You know, there's all different kinds of thread you can get for fly tying. But let me rewind. I got ahead of myself here. To start, you basically take your thread and just lay it across the shank of the hook like that, and then start wrapping. And you want to wrap over that thread that you laid down. So basically that just keeps it tight. So that thread's on there. Take a pair of scissors, trim that off. So now that's your base. That's what you're starting with right there. First thing you're going to add is your flash. So this right here. I like to keep it pretty short because I don't want that stuff hanging down much further than the hook points. You know, if it's hanging down there, you know, 3 or 4 inches past the hook point, those fish could come up and just eat that flash or nip on that flash and totally miss the hook. So I want it to be probably about 2 inches is what I'm looking for with the flash. And then we're gonna just put that right onto the shank of the hook like that. You want the ends to be right about where your base is, and then just wrap that thread around them. I like to give it, I don't know, about 10 wraps so it's really locked on there. And now that thread is locked on there. If you want to be fancy, you can rotate your hook a little bit, grab a few more strands, and tie some on this side. That way everything's not just tied on one side of your treble hook. All right. All right, now we got my flash on there. That's looking really good. I like how that looks. For right now, we're just tying straight up white. We're just adding some white feathers on there. So basically, I don't want too much on there, but you got to have just enough to give it some profile and a little action when these feathers are in the water. So I'm basically going to take my first feather, really just like to use 3 feathers, 1 for each hook point. So I'm going to keep these about the same. You know, I'm going to pinch it down here about 2 inches long, trim him, and then just do the exact same thing you did with the flash. We're going to lay him right on the base and just wrap the thread around there. All right, rotate, grab another feather. Oop, I didn't like that cut. I like to cut everything so it's nice and straight. You get a flat end there. That way it's nice and clean at the top. So I got 2 feathers here, but that'll be all right. They will form to what they need to be. All right, then you get them right down in line and wrap them around. Rotate one more time. You see we got a little gap here, so there's hook still showing. I want to cover that up, make it look nice. So I'm going to add 1 more feather. Make sure it's about 2 inches long like the rest of them. Now that's another key, is you want the natural end of the feather to be what you're tying on there. You don't want to have to trim it once it's on there, just because it's not going to look as natural once that feather is cut. So you want the natural end of the feather. Add that next one on there. And this is it. So we're done adding stuff. So I like to wrap the thread around until I cover all of the white from the feathers at the top. See how it's just solid black thread now? It just looks a little cleaner. It's probably just my OCD that causes that. And then you just tie a knot. So to tie a knot, you stop wrapping, pull a little extra thread off, just grab it with 2 fingers, twist it, and that basically just creates an overhand knot. And then you push that over the eye of the hook and onto where your thread is. Just like that. And that creates an overhand knot. So I always like to do 3 of them just in case, because you don't want your whole piece of work to come unraveling. Then I'm going to cut that thread. Last step, take your trusty old super glue. If you guys know me, you know I love my super glue. And we're going to just dab a little super glue on there. And that's basically gluing that thread shut so that it doesn't come unraveled if those knots break for some reason. You know, after you catch a few fish, you get a couple aggressive blow-ups on a topwater. Those fish can really tear up that thread pretty quick. So that super glue helps prolong the life of it. And there you have it. You're done. Nice, beautiful feathered treble hook. And it's on a trocar. So that is a top-notch hook right there. Quick, easy way to tie your feathered treble hooks. Now I always like to let them sit and let them dry overnight. So that'd be the next step, is I'm going to let these sit and dry overnight to make sure that super glue is extremely dry and they're not going to stick together if I throw them all in a box. So I like to let them dry overnight, but that's it. Easy as that, guys. Hopefully you learned how to tie a feathered treble hook. Like I said, it's pretty simple. You can knock a bunch out in just a short amount of time, and then you're set for basically the entire year. So that's what I like to do in the off season. I'll spend just a few hours, tie up a few treble hooks, and then I'm good for the rest of the year. So hopefully you guys learned something. Like I said, appreciate you guys watching. Leave me those likes and comments down below, and we'll see you guys next time.